The mural created for the centenary of Stoke-on-Trent, that now stands on Marsh Street in Hanley, is truly a great work of art, and one the city can be proud of. It features no less than 106 figures associated with the city from the past and present. In episode 1, we looked at the first 50, and in this episode, we're going to continue and look at the remaining 56. So let's dive straight in. Number 51. Clarice Cliff. Clarice Cliff is one of the most famous and influential ceramics designers of the 20th century, whose bold Art Deco pottery designs are synonymous with the Art Deco movement. Though her distinctive patterns brought her worldwide fame in her career, her work actually went out of fashion before being rediscovered during a revivalist movement in the 1980s and 90s. Her original works are now highly sought after and highly collectible, and her style has influenced many contemporary artists. 52. Keith Brymer Jones. Potter and ceramic designer Keith Brymer Jones is perhaps best known as the judge on the Great Pottery Throwdown, which has brought Stoke-on-Trent's pottery industry to national attention. Though Keith isn't actually a Stokie, he is a firm champion for the British pottery industry and one of its key spokespeople. Number 53. Emma Bridgewater. Founder of the Emma Bridgewater Pottery Factory in Stoke-on-Trent, reviving large-scale earthenware production in the city, she actually spent much of her career outside of Stoke-on-Trent, learning her craft gradually over many years before finally buying up the site of the former Eastwood Works in 1996. This works is now a popular destination for tourists and locals alike to try their hand at pottery decoration, and employs some 500 people, keeping the pottery industry flame flickering locally. 54. William Moorcroft. The celebrated potter, who was once made official potter to Queen Mary in the 1920s, is known mainly for vibrant and distinctive tube-line wares that were produced in Burslem and exported worldwide. Sadly, Moorcroft has become a symbol lately of the crisis in the British pottery industry due to spiralling energy costs. It was seen as a scandal locally that such a famous pottery factory could be forced to close its gates, and it helped to bring the problem in the industry to national attention. Thankfully, it was rescued by William Moorcroft's descendants, and the factory remains open, although the wider problems in the industry remain. 55. Luke Hamnett. Social media sensation Luke Hamnett is one of the more recent exports to the entertainment industry from Stoke-on-Trent, becoming famous during the pandemic in 2020 for his social media comedy sketches. He's since amassed a following in the millions and even got to host on the red carpet at the Brit Awards in 2025. 56. Mike Lloyd. Local music agent, record shop owner, and all-round treasure, was best known for Music Mania in Hanley, which helped to promote the local music scene, and still very much does. Sadly, Mike passed away at the end of 2025, a few months after the mural was unveiled, but he leaves a lasting legacy in the city's music scene. 57. Bruno Brookes. Trevor Bruno Brookes was a BBC Radio 1 DJ during its late 1980s peak, and an early pioneer of the British acid house scene. Famously, he accidentally played the full X-rated version of Rage Against the Machine's Killing in the Name of during the chart show in 1993, which landed him in a bit of hot water. 58. Sam Plank. Terry Hilton, better known as Sam Plank, was a mainstay on Stoke-on-Trent's local radio stations for many decades, and became one of its most famous and beloved voices. He mainly specialised in local talk shows, and also contributed to many local charities, as well as being a political activist for many local issues. 59. Florence Jessie McWilliams. Jessie McWilliams was a very influential mathematician who was born in Stoke-on-Trent and is known internationally for her contributions to coding theory, which led to great strides in the field. If you're looking for an explanation of what coding theory is, then you've very much come to the wrong place, but I'm told it is a very important field in mathematics. 60. Danny Wyatt-Hodge. England World Cup winning international cricket all-rounder Danny Wyatt-Hodge was born in Stoke-on-Trent and has gone on to represent England at a number of international tournaments, including the Ashes in 2025. Her career has seen her represent clubs all over the world. 61. Kirsty Bertarelli. Singer-songwriter and beauty pageant champion, having won Miss UK in 1988 and competed at Miss World, she later became one of the richest women in the UK, and also founded her own charity foundation which funds the Stoke-on-Trent Literary Festival. 62. Chris Burton. Pioneer of the Northern Soul scene in the 1960s, Christopher Burton was the founder of the Golden Torch nightclub in Tunstall. one of the country's leading soul music and mod culture venues in its heyday. The Torch was known for its all-nighter sessions. Sadly, it wasn't to last as it came under increasing police scrutiny, with the local council refusing to renew its licence in 1973. The venue later burnt down, and all that remains today is a plaque on a wall and a lot of fond memories. 63. Slash. World-famous guitarist and rock and roll icon of Guns N' Roses fame, Saul Hudson was actually born in London but grew up in Stoke-on-Trent, believe it or not, actually in Blurton, in my neck of the woods, before moving to LA as a 6-year-old. Though you wouldn't know it to listen to him speak today, he maintains that he's proud to be British, and therefore proud to be a Stokie, and we're very happy to claim him as one of our own. 64. Robbie Williams. The international pop megastar and former Take That member really needs no introduction. Born and raised in Stoke-on-Trent, he recently overtook the Beatles for the most albums to reach number 1 in the charts. He is truly one of the city's most famous exports, and a Stokie through and through. 65. Eddie Hall. World's strongest man in 2017, the Beast was born in Newcastle-under-Lyme and has gone on to become a well-known TV and social media personality promoting fitness and bodybuilding. He remains a popular character locally. 66. Nathan Heaney. Professional boxer Nathan Heaney is a proud Stokie. The Hitman is a former British middleweight champion with a huge following locally and a career that's still very much going strong. 67. Tut Wally. Staying in the boxing scene, but going back quite a bit in time, King Tut's boxing career spanned the 1930s and 1940s. John Wally was born in Congleton but raised in Stoke, and he finished his career with 97 victories, 37 by knockout according to the official records, but local legend has it that he fought 150 times, losing only twice, and finishing his career with barely a scratch on him. 68. Lou Macari. The Scottish former professional footballer and manager is a legendary figure at Stoke City, having guided the club through the 1990s, including to an Autoglass Trophy win. His lasting legacy in the city is the Lou Macari Foundation, which supports the homeless throughout the city, and he remains a very popular and beloved figure. 69. Neil Baldwin. Nello is truly one of the most beloved and marvellous figures in Stoke-on-Trent for his tireless enthusiasm and community work. His unconventional and remarkable life, and his unlikely career as Stoke City kitman and ambassador were brought to national attention when his biopic Marvellous was produced for screen and stage, starring Toby Jones. He remains ever present at local community events. 70. Havergal Bryan. The composer, born in Dresden in what is now Stoke-on-Trent, is famed for his huge repertoire of vast and complex symphonies, including his Gothic symphony that requires an immense orchestra to be performed as prescribed. At 110 minutes long, it's one of the longest symphonies ever written and is rarely performed. 71. Jackie Trent. Singer, songwriter and actress born in Newcastle-under-Lyme, co-wrote several hit songs including the number 1 hit, Where Are You Now, and the well-known theme tune to the soap opera Neighbours. 72. Gertie Gitana. The famous music hall and pantomime star was born in Stoke-on-Trent and was famous for her eccentric comic performances. She was also known as the original Force's sweetheart during World War I, entertaining wounded soldiers in convalescent hospitals in France. 73. Arnold Bennett. The major novelist of the early 20th century was born in Hanley and is the creator of the 5 Towns series of novels. Sorry, Fenton. And chronicler of working-class Pottery's life through works such as Clayhanger, helping to bring everyday struggles with health and poverty in the Potteries to national attention. He's truly one of the most celebrated sons of North Staffordshire. 74. John Wayne. Sticking in the field of literature, this angry young man was a poet, novelist and literary critic born in Stoke-on-Trent and known for his anti-establishment literature in the 1960s, alongside the likes of Philip Larkin and Kingsley Amis. 75. Lorna Bailey. Switching gears now and moving back into the pottery industry, the contemporary ceramic designer whose Burslem-based business produced vibrant designs and collectibles series that remain very popular, is a Fellow of the Royal Society of Arts, and her work remains popular. 76. Susie Cooper. A highly influential ceramics designer of the 20th century, She trained and worked her entire career in the Potteries, learning at Burslem School of Art. Originally intending to be an artist, she realised her talent for pottery design, and local employer A.E. Gray took her on, finding great success with her lustreware designs, and she later went into business for herself and designed for several prominent pottery names in the city. 77. Roger Bairstow. Coming forward in time a bit now, local pottery firm owner Roger Bairstow's company is one of the few remaining manufacturers of collectibles such as character jugs, and is still flying the flag for the local pottery industry to this day. 78. Jessie Tate. Another famous ceramic designer, known for her modernist tableware designs including Red Domino and Fiesta, a protégé of Charlotte Reed, who I'm surprised not to see featured in her own right on this mural, is mainly associated with the Midwinter and Claiborne pottery firms locally. 79. Sir Brian Fender. Sir Brian Fender is a very influential figure in education in the UK, serving as executive on several organisations promoting higher education, as well as being a Fellow of the Royal Society. Locally, he's also the chair of the Mitchell Arts Centre and a trustee of the Dorothy Clive Garden. 80. Freddie Jones. Star of stage and screen Freddie Jones was born in Stoke-on-Trent and is perhaps best known for his role in The Elephant Man, and later for his long-standing role in the soap opera Emmerdale. His son Toby Jones is also a celebrated actor who famously portrayed Neil Baldwin in Marvellous, as well as Dobby in the Harry Potter films. 81. Jonathan Wilkes. Local entertainer and actor Jonathan Wilkes is sometimes unfairly branded as famous just for being Robbie Williams' best mate, but his annual panto at the Regent Theatre is always one of the highlights of the year, and he has raised millions for charity in his career. He recently opened his own performing arts school. 82. Nick Hancock. Actor and TV personality Nick Hancock is perhaps best known for presenting the sports quiz They Think It's All Over for more than a decade, and also popular shows like Room 101. 83. Eric Bristow. Now you may be wondering what a fella nicknamed the Crafty Cockney, who was born and raised in East London and died in Liverpool, has to do with Stoke-on-Trent. Although he doesn't have a direct connection with Stoke-on-Trent, he did discover, sponsor and mentor one of its most famous sons, this man. 84. Phil the Power Taylor. Yes, Eric Bristow is known for discovering and mentoring the man that many consider to be the best in the game. The record-breaking 16-time World Darts Champion is a Stokie through and through and dominated at the Oche for over 3 decades. 85. Maureen Flowers. Sticking with the Arras, Maureen Flowers completes a trio of professional darts champions on the Mural. After retiring from the sport, she managed Phil Taylor to several of his world championships. 86. Ray Johnson. Filmmaker, actor, historian and archivist Ray Johnson is the founder of the Staffordshire Film Archive that preserves historically significant film footage from the county, a valuable resource for future generations. 87. Fred Hughes. Celebrated local historian Fred Hughes, with numerous published works documenting the history of Stoke-on-Trent, is considered one of the authorities on the city's history. 88. Daniel Flynn. As long-time CEO of the YMCA in North Staffordshire, Daniel Flynn greatly expanded its reach and impact over his career, helping to change the lives of the hundreds of thousands of people that has passed through its doors over the years. 89. Anthea Turner. Anthea Turner is a TV presenter perhaps best known for Blue Peter and presenting the National Lottery in the 1990s. 90. Rachel Shenton. Rachel Shenton is a successful actor and writer from Stoke-on-Trent who learned her trade in local theatre, and she later appeared in several roles on TV before claiming an Academy Award for her role in the 2017 short film The Silent Child. 91. Josiah Wedgwood. If you ask the average person to name one famous person from Stoke-on-Trent, then Josiah Wedgwood would certainly be a popular choice. The founder of Wedgwood Pottery and one of the most important figures in the history of the Staffordshire Potteries, is probably one of the main reasons we have an internationally renowned pottery industry at all, rather than just a small collection of local artisans. His pioneering experiments in ceramics techniques such as emulation and transfer printing allowed his products to be mass-produced cheaply, while his groundbreaking retail practices of direct delivery, catalogues, guarantees and special offers became standard. He was also a spokesperson for social reform, being an ardent abolitionist throughout his life, and truly one of the people who built this great city. 92. Peter Cheeseman. Peter Cheeseman, a theatre director and founder of the Victoria Theatre, is credited with bringing theatre in the round to the Midlands. He served as its artistic director for nearly 4 decades, and I've mentioned him in a previous video as the creator of The Nottie, a play about the North Staffordshire Railway Company, which is just one of his works that are set in the Potteries. 93. Martin Tideswell. Martin Tideswell is the long-time editor of the local paper, The Sentinel, and Stoke-on-Trent Live, as well as several other local publications. He championed the city's ultimately unsuccessful bid to become the capital of culture in 2021. 94. Arthur Berry. Local playwright, poet and painter Arthur Berry is known for his gritty depictions of the Stoke-on-Trent landscape. Often referred to as the Lowry of the Potteries, he is one of the most famous names associated with the arts in Staffordshire. Arthur Berry shared his centenary year with the city, and several events and exhibitions were held throughout the year in his honour. 95. Nick Degg. Nick Degg is a true Potteries wordsmith, with his light-hearted, tongue-twisting performances of his poetry always drawing a crowd. He's also a great champion for literacy and the arts in the city. 96. Phil Hardacre. Phil Hardacre is a mosaic artist whose work has been commissioned by Parliament and the royal family. His works always convey a sense of pride and celebration of the subject, making him a popular choice for public displays, and he's still based locally. 97. Jasmine Sawyers. From the pottery industry, we make a long jump into the field of athletics, with Jasmine Sawyers, an Olympic long jumper for Team GB and a Commonwealth Games medalist on multiple occasions. A 5-time national champion and a world record holder during her career, she's also multi-talented, with music being her other passion, and she made an appearance on The Voice in 2017. She remains an ambassador for women's sport. 98. Eric Newton. Stoke-on-Trent's clarinet man Eric Newton was a mainstay in Hanley and Leek and other shopping districts, always seen busking with his little mini-me puppet show dancing beside him. He also remarkably ran the notoriously tough Potteries Marathon, as well as the London Marathon whilst playing to the watching crowds. Ever the performer, his life was celebrated in a play at the New Vic Theatre, in which he also played the starring role. 99. Don Shelley. Don Shelley is a well-known figure locally, having founded the Potteries Marathon in 1982, which later became the Potter's Half, which always irked me, because I think it should really be the Potter's Eighth, but never mind. He also pioneered the sport of road running in the city, founding the North Staffs Roadrunners Association in 1974. 100. Sir Stanley Matthews. The other name that probably comes to mind if you are asked, name one famous person from Stoke, the Wizard of the Dribble and the inaugural World Player of the Year, is regarded as one of the greatest players of all time. Starting his career with Stoke City, his most memorable moments actually came in Tangerine Orange with Blackpool in the 1950s, with whom he won the FA Cup. His triumphant return to Stoke in the early 1960s, in the twilight of his career, helped to turn the club's fortunes around, famously doubling crowds at the Victoria Ground overnight. His funeral in the year 2000 was attended by thousands of adoring fans, and his ashes were fittingly buried under the pitch of Stoke City's current home, the Bet365 Stadium, and he was honoured with a statue outside of the ground. 101. James Brindley. The famous canal pioneer, born in Derbyshire, but living most of his life in Staffordshire, is best known for his pioneering techniques that were crucial for the Industrial Revolution. Locally he is most famous for the Trent and Mersey Canal and the Harecastle Tunnel, which was truly a remarkable feat of engineering for its time. He and his family are buried locally in Newchapel. 102. Unknown figure. One of the more curious inclusions, the unknown figure on the work of art, is depicted as a small child looking up to the other people on the mural, and is intended to represent the future of Stoke-on-Trent, those who'll carry the city into the future and achieve great things in the century to come. 103. King George V. The reigning monarch who granted Stoke-on-Trent its city status was King George V, and he personally visited the area along with Queen Mary to bestow the honour in 1925. He also laid the foundation stone of the Royal Infirmary during his visit. 104. Terry Holdcroft. Holdcroft is a name heavily associated with the motor trade in Stoke-on-Trent, and he founded the first car dealership in the city in the 1960s, which has since expanded into a business empire. The Holdcroft Group is still one of the most prominent names in motoring in the city. Photos of the man himself seem to be scarce, and he's represented by the company logo on the mural. 105. Ralph Goodwin. Speaking of people with very few photos, industrialist and steel manufacturer Ralph Goodwin founded R. Goodwin & Sons as a steel casting foundry in 1883. That foundry has since grown into a multi-branch engineering firm that is still a major employer locally and has supplied steel for projects all over the world. And last but not least, 106. Harry Lockett. Harry Lockett was Stoke's first professional football manager who introduced professionalism to football in Stoke, and later successfully lobbied for Stoke to become one of the founder members of the Football League in 1888, in the process also becoming its first secretary. So there we have it, 100 years, 106 faces of Stoke-on-Trent. Are there any people that you feel should have been included on this mural? I know I've mentioned a few myself throughout. Are there any surprise inclusions to you? Anyone you'd never actually heard of? And do you have a personal story to tell about any of them? I'd love to hear it in the comments. Thank you all for watching, and I'll say thee again next time for Moa Stokey Toke.